welcome back to the channel. What did you think about the intro? You noticed something new? I made a custom one and I'm very proud of it. I made it this morning. I got tired of using the same old one from my editing software, so I just decided to try a new one. And I hope you like it. Let me know if you do. And it's gonna be more or less the same for the outro. So stay tuned for the new outro. This week, or rather this episode on the channel, we are furnishing the interior of the Moroccan mansion I built in the last video. I decided to break it into two parts, otherwise the speed build will be definitely way too long. And let me tell you, this video was also supposed to be very long. I decided to cut out all the bathrooms and I think most of the hallways, otherwise the video would be just way too long. And pardon me, but this is only my second voiceover. I really don't know how I will manage to talk for 24 minutes straight. But yeah, let's get into detailing what I'm doing for this build. So as you can see, I'm now furnishing the main hallway, the foyer, if you want to call it that way. And throughout the whole house, you will see I've used the same tile I used for the outside. That's the tile that comes with the country kitchen kit. I thought that would be the best option, just because this house is placed in Oasis Springs, so it's a very warm weather, and typically houses that are in this type of weather don't really have hardwood floors. They tend to have tiles most of the time, just because it keeps the house cooler during the summer. I've used many packs in this build, so sorry about that, but some honorable mentions are, weirdly enough, Journey to Batu. I never thought I would be using that pack for a Moroccan inspired house, but they have definitely some more rustic or metal objects, which I think are definitely more typical. Another honorable mention, as you can probably tell by this kitchen that I'm building right now, is Realm of Magic. Realm of Magic also has a lot of ornate stuff, which is very useful for this build, and I paired it with the Vampires or base game, I don't remember. I think it's Vampires, the cabinets from Vampires, just because this kitchen doesn't have matching upper cabinets, but I think they did it on purpose, just because we have some swatches that already match the ones we have for the counters. As you can probably tell at the beginning, I tried the country kitchen kit, but it just felt a little bit too rustic, not really ornate, and not really proper for a mansion. So I just went for the Realm of Magic one. This room is then placed in the extension that you can see in my previous video. I built this as ideally an extension of the house, just because I don't really like U-shaped or C-shaped or O-shaped builds. I don't like builds that are too symmetrical, just because I think the floor plan that gets really boring. So I just added an extra extension on this build. And that's where the kitchen and the dining room is, or rather the informal dining room. You will see a new one, more formal one, in the main living area in a while. Now I'm just placing some decorations. I cut out the footage of me trying to find out where all those decorative items were, because this was just way too long of a process, and I think also quite boring, just seeing me scrolling through the menu endlessly trying to look for kitchen clutter items. So I pulled out everything I think would fit in the kitchen, and then I started decorating the kitchen. I had to delete some items because there were just too many. They would not fit in the counters, but it's fine. The kitchen is very cluttered as it is. So you can see in this build I'm going for a kind of modern and also at the same time antique vibe. The idea I had in mind is that this villa has been around in Oasis Springs for a very long time, and it has been slowly renovated through the years. So you can see the style doesn't necessarily match, but that's intentional. So I've used a lot of more older items coming from, for example, from Realm of Magic, or that clock from Cottage Living, but also some modern items. You will see mostly in the informal living area, where also the TV area is, and especially in the bedrooms. I think that's where the family currently is working on for the renovations. I still haven't built the family, I haven't created the family yet. I will do it on TikTok soon, I promise. I don't have really a fixed schedule for when I go live on TikTok. I just go live whenever I feel like it, or rather whenever I have time. So if you wanna know when I'm live, just follow me on TikTok and you'll get a notification when I'm live. Now we are moving on to the living area, the formal living area, where I'm placing a formal sitting room and a formal dining room. I've used a lot of items from the Courtyard Oasis kit in this build, because as you can probably tell, this is a Moroccan inspired build, so I wanted to make use of this kit as much as possible. Also because, as I mentioned in the previous video, I have recently bought the pack, so I wanted to experiment with it. And yeah, I hope you're liking the build so far. Did you know The Sims is having a sale right now? I mean, I guess probably by the time this video goes out, there's not gonna be a sale anymore, because this sale is currently for Black Friday, and I am recording this voiceover pretty in advance, because I'm moving back to Italy soon, so I need to pre-record in order to have videos come out. We will probably get to a regular schedule during the mid of December, I guess. But in case you didn't know, The Sims had a sale for Black Friday, and I think the sales are not as good as they used to be, honestly, because I started playing The Sims 4 during the pandemic, and by the time that I started playing The Sims, there were sales all the time, and also big sales. I think stuff packs were always 50% off. Sometimes expansion packs were even 75% off. I think The Sims was taking advantage of the fact that people were stuck in their homes, so they had a lot of time on their hands and they could very well play The Sims, and now it's not the case anymore. But yeah, I kind of miss those sales, those big sales. Anyway, we are continuing on with the build. I'm doing now the eating area, the dining area, sorry. As you can probably tell, English is not my first language, so sometimes I stumble upon my words. I hope you find that cute rather than cringe. I will probably get better with time as time progresses and I keep doing voiceovers. Now instead we are moving on to the part that I'm more excited about, because I have a little something to tell you in this case. We are now doing the TV room, where the family, I think, is gonna just gather around for a movie night, and it's also an entertaining space when they have guests, and it's more of an informal night. I also had a little corner for the kids to play, because I imagine the parents would want to see their children play while they're living the family life, you know. So this area of the house is a bit more modern, because I thought this was probably one of the first ones the family renovated, just because that's the space they're probably gonna use the most. So I just thought that it might be one of the most renovated ones. And now I'm doing the kids corner with a lot of toys, puppet show. I tried placing the void critter thing, but then I thought I could place it in one of the kids' bedrooms. I honestly completely forgot. There is no void critter machine in the house whatsoever, but the kids have plenty to do in general, so for sure they will not get bored with this amount of stuff to do. And now I'm just going around putting on some decorations that I think the kids might have drawn with chalk on the walls. I don't think the parents mind too much when their kids are being creative or stuff like that. In this corner, I really didn't know what to put, honestly, so I just put an office. There's gonna be another office on the third floor, but this space I think just fit an office. Well, maybe this is the computer family, and I'm also gonna put some bookcases with a reading nook. Maybe they like also reading where their children play, and so on. Anyway, I wanted to talk to you about the root of my name. Why am I called plumbobd? I saw a lot of people calling me plumbobd. It's actually plumbobd. And a lot of people, especially in real life, ask me, why did you choose plumbobd? What does it mean? Well, in case you didn't know, the plumbob is the shape, the prism that's floating above Sims' heads. So I wanted to have a name that resembled, that recalled the Sims. So I chose to use the plumbobd, and I wanted to have it be like plumbobd, with ed as it's a past tense. So I have been plumbobbed. Oh my god, I've been obsessed with The Sims lately. But unfortunately, that username was already taken, so I had to choose another one. And I tried usually to double the letters in my names when they don't fit because they have been already taken or something like that. But in this case, I don't know, I just went without the E, so I'm now plumbobbed. For some people, plumbobd, but it's plumbobd. So I hope some more people now can understand why I'm called this way. Anyway, now we are moving on to the kids' bedroom. This kids' bedroom is made for a little girl. In this family, I'm planning on doing a big sister and a little boy toddler. So this room is for the girl. It's very feminine, as we can say, quote-unquote, stereotypically feminine. Just because I think the parents are not necessarily forward-thinking. I like to portray reality in my games, so not every family is gonna be very forward-thinking, very open-minded. So I'm just guessing the parents made the room just for a little girl, in mind the fact that she will be a feminine little girl, which in my head she probably is, but I think she got some encouragement from the parents. So this room is very how can we call it? It's very purple, pastel. There's also some hints of pink. It's very, very girly. And in my head, this little girl likes to play with toys, is very creative, but is also really, really in love with dancing. And in my head, when she grows out of childhood and becomes a teenager, she will be in the cheerleading team for sure. But for the moment, she's just a child. So I put around some toys for her, and everything is matching. I used a lot of kids' room stuff because it has some good swatches, and I tried to decorate it with a child in mind. Some decor might look a little bit more teenage-like. For example, the posters that I've just placed on the wall that are from the high school years back, but we don't really have much stuff for children in the game, so I had to do with what we have in the game. That's me forgetting to put doors on the upper floors and just completely reshuffling the room. I think it works anyway. I just had to reshuffle some things around. But yeah, now we're moving on to the toddler's room, and let me tell you, if I were a parent, that door leading to the balcony would be absolutely locked, with double locked, triple locked. I would not let my toddler anywhere near that door that is near the balcony. But for the realism of the build, it makes sense that probably it's symmetrical, so every room on that side, on those sides of the build, will probably have a door leading to the balcony, as well as the main hallway, which you don't see in this build except for the main areas, just because the video would otherwise be way too long. And pardon me, but I am really struggling with knowing how to talk for so long. What do simmers say when there are speed builds that are just so long? I I feel like they talk a little bit about their lives, but I don't know. I want to start talking about my life, but at the same time, I'm just new on YouTube. I don't really have a following that's invested in my life. Would you care to have news about my life? Let me know in the comments down below. And also let me know if you are enjoying this build. I am really proud of how this build turned out, generally just because it's such a big mansion, and I don't often build mansions, also because we don't have that many big lots that require mansions in the game. And in this series I'm just rebuilding the whole of Oasis Springs just to make it more playable for me, for my save file. And in mind, when I build this save file, I also have playability. So now, for the sake of this build, I try to clutter and decorate a lot, but then when I finish my save file, I usually go around all the houses I've built and I take away some of the clutter just to make the house generally more playable, more just to make my game run more smoothly. Also because I'm playing on a simple gaming laptop, I don't have fancy equipment like most of Sims YouTubers, so I have to keep performance in mind when I play. But also for you guys, if you want to download this build, so you probably also want your games to run very smoothly, so that's a trade-off you have to make. It's either a big build with a slow game or a more simple build, maybe a more empty build, but that functions better. And that's also what I think the Sims team had in mind when they built this house generally, or not only this house, this game. In reality, this house turns out costing less than what the original house that was placed here costed. So I think in the top top left corner of the screen, you can probably see it's called Alture Yuma in Italian. I have no idea. Oh, I think in English it's called Yuma Heights, something like that. It's basically the lot in front of the Landgrab's house. This house was very big and it originally costed probably over 300,000 simoleons. When I uploaded this lot to the gallery, it costed 270, so probably with the lot price in mind, it will probably turn out to be 280,000 simoleons. So it's not crazy expensive. It's not for your average sim, but definitely it's cheaper than what the original house was. Anyway, fun fact about me, I got mistaken with right and left corner because I am left-handed, and if you have ever encountered left-handed people in your life, please be gentle with them when they try to give you directions, because I don't know how people teach you directions in other countries, but in Italy what they say is that the right is usually the hand you write with. And that's because most of the people are right-handed, but that really confused me as a child because I am left-handed. So when people told me the right is the hand you write with, they confused me forever, and now forever and ever I will never recognize the difference between right and left. I mean, I can recognize the difference between right and left if I really think about it, but when I'm in the moment and I really have to talk fast or to talk at a normal speed, I most of the time get confused. Even when I'm in the car with friends and I try to give directions, I always point at where they have to turn, because if I have to think about it's right or left, I just get confused. So anyway, enough rambling. We are now moving on to the third floor, or we are well advanced with the third floor. This floor is dedicated to the parents' bedroom with a big walk-in closet I built for them, and it also has a private bathroom. And on the other side, which is accessible with the other flight of stairs, I'm gonna build the office. In this house you're gonna see a lot, and I mean a lot of bookcases, but just because this house is so big, at some point I really didn't know how to furnish it anymore, so I just put a lot of storage and bookcases just to fill up the space. Everything is functional, so I guess your gameplay won't be so bad anyway. But yeah, bear with me because this build was very, very big. It took me a long time to build, and in fact you can probably tell the The speed build is also quite long. It's not super long. I think you can probably see longer speed builds, but this is already sped up 6 times the original speed, which is usually the maximum. I try to keep it. I usually go for a minimum of 3 and a maximum of 6. Just because if it's under 3, I feel like it's too slow and it becomes almost a real-time build. But if it's over 6, as for example I think Lil Simsy does, she speeds up her speed builds by 8 times sometimes. That's just way too fast, and I feel like I just get dizzy and I cannot really enjoy how the building process is. So I try to go for 6 times maximum, and if I left every single piece of footage I had, the speed will probably be over 30 minutes long, and that's really not ideal for me because I don't know how to speak for that long. But yeah, this is the last room I'm building for this house. This is the office/hobby room. I really enjoyed using the Nifty Knitting Pack for this build, especially in that swatch. I never used those items in that swatch. I'm just picturing the mother of the children being very into knitting, and yeah, so I just decided to build a little corner for her. In a second, in this hallway, this is the very last room I am furnishing for this house. I realized that how is it called? The Courtyard Oasis kit came with a lamp. I realized it came with a wall hanging lamp, so I decided to switch out all the Journey to Batu lamps throughout the whole house with this lamp, and let me tell you, I was so disappointed when I realized only in the last room of this build. It was I was really debating if I should change them all, but then I said, yeah, I'm building this house just for the pleasure of using this kit. I should use as much of this kit as possible, also because it's not very versatile. I don't know when else I'm gonna use this type of items anymore. This is probably gonna be the first and last time I'm using them. Maybe when we move to Sulani, when we will rebuild the whole of Sulani, I will use some pieces, but Polynesian culture and Moroccan culture are not really the same. You can use some items, but not really so many. Anyway, I think screenshots should now be rolling. This is the end of this speed build. Next week, we're gonna have, I think, two shell challenges in the next 2 videos. One from Rochelle and one from Little Simsy. So I hope you enjoyed this build. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, and turn on the bell to receive notifications anytime I post. I post every Tuesday and Friday, and I also post shorts on Wednesday and Saturday. And I will catch you all in the next video. Bye!